I really love my guests to basically pull their weight around here, okay? So as a podcast host, you know yourself that when it's just you, you've got to do all the things. So I like to share the load. So what I'm going to do, if you agree, is ask you a question from a listener, and ask if you would speak to that just in a few minutes. Would that be okay?
Of course, perfect.
So I hand plucked this one because it had the word calm in it, and you are the queen of calm. So I was like, I've got just the person. So our listener asks, I like the idea that peace and calm is natural to me and that it's only covered up by a lot of thinking, and I'm exploring this in my own life. But what can I do when I feel really stressed or anxious when I need to be getting on with something? I have set blocks of time to complete a work project, for example, and if I feel stressed out, I just can't think straight and I waste the time. How can I feel peaceful then? I find that funny that that was the question, given what we just said, but I'd love to hear what you think, Claire.
So I feel like I've been on quite a journey with this idea of needing to feel a certain way to do practical things. So mine was more around having to feel the motivation as opposed to not feel. I don't even know now what that felt like. I don't know what I was looking for in terms of that feeling. So my idea was that all the little ducks needed to be lined up in a little row, and Claire had to feel a certain way, and then a beam of motivational light would come down from heaven, touch me on the head, and then I would just do the bloody web page that I've been putting off for 30 weeks or however long, so, and I really did kind of think that was the thing. And then I went through a phase of kind of thinking, oh, well, I know what's wrong here. It's my past self planning the tasks for my present moment self, and my present moment self going, it ends in off, mate, and I'm not doing it. So that was another phase. And so then I was in this kind of all the time in this, like what people talk about in this understanding, in this flow, and just doing what I felt like doing, but being therefore a little bit scattery and a little bit kind of all over the place. And then I can't even remember when I saw it, but it probably feels like it probably wasn't inside, but I just thought, oh, don't have to feel a particular way to do things. Like I can be tired and stressed and upset about something. Like this morning, I was really riled up about that message. I still did a workout with the riled up feeling on board. And it didn't stop my physical body moving. Like it doesn't stop. Now, I think there's something around, if we're really wound up and we've got a beautiful piece to write, that might be a little bit of a challenge. But probably if we start writing, something will shift, because we'll be thinking about the writing then. We won't be thinking about the thing that's making us feel terrible in the first place. So then it'll all just sort itself out. I think there's a great big piece of like, bless the Queen and getting on with it. Because there's a woman who just chuffing got on with it, didn't she? Like, oh, I'm about to die, but I tell you what, new Prime Minister needs welcoming, so I better get off my deathbed and go say yay to the new Prime Minister and then get back on my deathbed and die 2 days later. Because she's from a generation who just flipping got on with it. Like, I felt quite emotional about the Queen, and I'm not a royalist at all, but totally felt like what a generation, I think, of people who were never dictated to by how they felt. And I realized that meant that people were horrible to other people and didn't kind of consider people's feelings. But sorry to say it, I think we've gone too far the other flipping way, where we think our feelings are a dictator as to whether we can show up and get on with life, and they're not. Your feelings are a representation of your thinking, and your thinking knows nothing about what you're capable of, because your thinking is some BS that slipped into your head when you were 3, 5, 7, whenever. What the heck has that got to do with you and I on Monday evening, having a conversation? It's got nothing to do with us right now. And when you start to see that, like I've been through adrenal fatigue, underactive thyroid, menopause symptoms in the last few years. And in the last 6 months, I have just started to show up no matter how I feel and just got on with it. Those symptoms have now disappeared. Interesting. They've just disappeared. Am I physically better? Or have I just stopped thinking about them? And so they've fizzled out, you know? I just don't think we can, I just don't think, even the physical stuff, I think we can't let it get in the way of us. We are capable of so much more than what we think we are.
Oh, I so agree. Oh, what really came through to me then and what you shared, Claire, was, and rooted in the question from the listener, and hey, by the way, I've had this question myself about a bazillion times in some form or another, but rooted within the question is the misunderstanding that we do need to feel a certain way in order to do certain things. But if our feelings are indeed quality control on our thinking and nothing more than that, they are indeed just the dashboard to let us know if our thinking is to be trusted or not, then it doesn't make sense to need to feel a certain way in order to do things. So I love just how you've kind of described that. And I heard a lot in what you said, and I hope the listener did too. Thank you.